Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Join Reiki Master and Quantum Healing expert Wes Coons as he guides listeners through the depths of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment to uncover the version of you we haven't met yet.
Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Welcome back to the show. I tell you what, it's the first week of September. If you're in the Virginia Beach area, summer turned on to 150 degrees, then it just turned off a couple weeks ago. And I hate to say it, but I'm kind of glad that summer is over. It just was so hot and miserable. The weather is perfect right now. And I went to bed early this evening. I'm like, I'm gonna get a good night's sleep, right? So here I am recording a podcast in the middle of the night because it felt right. I like to record when it feels right. In this summer, I don't know, it was summertime. So I was doing an episode every couple weeks, and I want to apologize I wasn't as consistent as I was before. But the one thing I haven't talked about, and we've talked about a lot, we talked about that fucking crazy haunted house that I'm grateful that I went through it because this spiritual awakening happened. However, it still torments me. I want to talk about this beautiful gift I've received. We really haven't gone into detail about any healing work that I do. And I've been interviewing all these beautiful healers in this market, and I've met so many talented men and women that serve God differently than you see with organized religion down the street in the square box called a church. I had somebody tell me this week, the work you do is devil's work. I'm like, oh, wow, really? Bless your heart. I don't know how to pray to Jesus Christ and bring in the devil, but if that makes you feel better, that's great. And the reality is, we do God's work. And I never thought in a million years, I can promise you, I never thought in a million years those words would come out of my mouth. I was so anti-God, so anti-church, so anti-Jesus my whole life. And if you listen to the podcast from the beginning, you know why. And if you haven't, some things happened to me as a little boy that in my mind, how could that happen if Jesus was real? And when I met Father Munford, he helped me understand that Jesus wasn't there to pull me out of that bedroom. He was there to love me through the experience I was experiencing. Does that make sense? See, I believe we come here on a contract, a soul contract, and part of my contract was to go through certain experiences. One of them happened to be in that bedroom. And I've had so many people say, I'm sorry that you experienced that. And I'm not sorry. Even though I'm still healing aspects of that, I am not sorry because it made me who I am today. And I like who I am today for the first time ever. I don't know why God chose me, right? I don't know why any of that stuff happened. I was thinking today, at what point through that whole 9 months or so episode of The House did the gifts turn on? I mean, maybe when I was hearing the music in the walls, that was gifts. I don't know. I don't know. I took Abby for a walk this evening down at the beach. I don't know, it was around 7:30. We got down there, and when I was leaving, the Reiki Wellness Center had a Reiki share, and some of my friends came out, and my good friend Joanne and I walked over to Tempt and had dinner together and just talked. So it was the three of us, the dog and she and I. I was reflecting on that meal that we shared together on how nice it is to have safe friends, people that don't take, where we could just enjoy each other's company and we lift each other up. And she's always so kind and has a different way to look at things in life to help me understand and help me grow. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate the people that are in my life today. But I remember the first time I did a healing session. You know, I was up in Washington, D.C. at this real estate conference, this Mike Ferry real estate conference, and I had a bunch of my agents there. And I was talking to this girl on Facebook, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you took your Reiki 1 class. I've got a headache. Can you help me?" And of course, me being me, I'm like, sure, why not? I'm going to step right into it and see what happens. I don't really think about things sometimes. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but that's just who I am. And I remember setting the phone down. I was in the hotel room by myself and I closed my eyes and I could see, well, I don't know. I don't even know if seeing it is the accurate word. I felt her energy in front of me, right? So I reached out and I grabbed this energy ball and pulled it in front of me. So my eyes are closed and I can see more clearly in my mind with my eyes closed. I guess that almost sounds funny to say, but when I'm working on somebody, most of the time my eyes are closed. And I remember pulling her in front of me and I could see the shape of her head and her shoulders, right? And I couldn't see it like she was actually in front of me. It was just like the outline. And I had no idea what I was doing. Nobody taught me to close my eyes and reach out and grab that energy field and pull it in. Nobody taught me to do any of the stuff I did in that healing, but it felt so right. It felt so perfect as I did the work, like I've done it a million times. And I remember looking down at her chest and I could see her heart as if you would see a real heart. I could see it. It was in color. And the funny thing is I'm colorblind. So for me, seeing things with my eyes closed, doing spiritual work, it's in color. So I get to actually see colors during that time period. And as I'm talking about this right now, my hands are on fire. So if you're familiar with Reiki, when you do that work, most people, I think probably everybody at some point, that energy flows through your hands and your hands are on fire and they're tingling. And I meet a lot of people, they'll say, "Oh my gosh, something weird is happening. My hands are hot and tingling." I'm like, well, that's that sacred energy. That's that Christ energy flowing through your crown chakra into your body. And Jesus flows through me to heal me. And together we heal the world. That's how it works. And the key is we heal ourselves first. When I started this journey, I looked at the calendar and I'm like, man, I could be a Reiki master in less than 6 months, right? I can take Reiki 1, 2, and 3, and they kind of lined up probably in about 3-month time period. So I took level 1, and level 1 is about healing yourself, right? You get the energetic download from the Reiki masters before you, and it's kind of like putting the hard drive in the computer to connect you to spirit at a deeper level. But my other courses, level 2, never lined up. I mean, I remember calling the Reiki Center and saying, "Hey, I can take it any day but this weekend," just trying to make things happen for me. And that was the weekend. And I kept missing it and missing it and missing it because I did not want to work on myself. I wanted to fast forward it, and I was going to heal all these people and do all this cool stuff, right? The reality is I hated myself so much. The last thing I wanted to do was work on myself. But that was the part that needed to be healed. You might find yourself relating with that a little bit, right? We go out of our way to help these people, to do anything for anybody, but I wouldn't lift a finger for myself. I mean, at that point in my life, when somebody would say, "Oh yeah, man, we were talking about you over dinner," I couldn't comprehend that. I'm like, why would anybody have a conversation about me at dinner? I mean, I had to go in my mind to where I've done something wrong. It wasn't Wes is a nice guy. Wes is this wonderful person. Wes has this beautiful soul. Wes is gifted, talented, loved, beautiful. Any of that stuff. None of that was in my mind. I remember when I would hear that, it would physically hurt. And I would cry. I was like, I was so nothing. Why would anybody know who I am? Taking this Reiki 1 course, and I learned that through Trinae, and she's like, "Oh, Reiki 1's about self-healing." I'm like, "Fuck that. I'll be at level 2 in 3 weeks, blah, blah, blah." And you're required to do a certain amount of healings to get to level 2. None of my healings were on me. They were on the dog or the tree, the plant, anything but me. And Trinae would be like, "Hey, your knee hurts. Why don't you do Reiki?" And I'd think to myself, fuck you. Fuck off. I am fucking not going to do that. I couldn't touch that aspect. And it wasn't until I actually came to the realization and said it out loud, because see, part of healing is saying something out loud. And if you ever see me on the boardwalk in the morning talking crazy stuff to myself, it's because I'm saying things that are haunting me, and I say it out loud, and it heals things. It changes things. And I came to the realization that I didn't want to do self-healing on myself. I mean, I knew it, but I acknowledged it. I gave it light, because the things that haunt us, the things that grow and take from us, only grow in the dark. So when we turn the light on, when we talk about it, when we say it out loud, when we go to God and say, "Take this from me." When I first went to the mountain and did my first heart dance, I had just came out of 2 back-to-back surgeries. 2 back surgeries. I had one in January and one in September, something like that. And I was already struggling with pain medicine from an injury 15 years before. I mean, I wasn't using that whole time or anything, but, pain pills was a dangerous spot for me. And my doctor knew what was going on. And even with sharing with the doctor, your body still reacts. So I go to this heart dance, and I know it's a problem. It's awakened something inside of me that I didn't want. And I remember going up there on my hands and knees and begging God, "Take this addiction from me. Take it. I can't do it anymore." And the funny thing is, when I got to that mountain, I was riddled in pain. My body was in withdrawals. I told my doctor when I left, I said, "I can't do the pain medicine anymore." He's like, "Well, let's wean you off of it." And I'm like, "No. we're not going to wean anything off. He's like, well, you got to be careful, blah, blah, blah. And I went to that mountain crawling out of my skin. I went to that mountain broken. I was so used to being broken. And I just fell to my knees at one point and just sobbed and begged, take this from me. And he did. I mean, it wasn't this giant rush of energy through my body and all of a sudden I'm healed. I sat there on my knees sobbing for a couple minutes and I stood the fuck up and I went on doing what I needed to do because we had an event to put on. I don't know when he took it. When it was over 3 days later, I walked off the mountain with 100 pounds of stuff on my back and nothing hurt. It was, I know this sounds crazy, but it was like 6 days later, I realized that I wasn't in withdrawals anymore. I wasn't in pain. It just was gone. I've not had a craving since. God took that from me because I was willing. And I chose me. Maybe for the first time ever. I don't know how those miracles work. So I'm working on this girl, right? And I see her heart inside this shadow version of herself. And I reach in with my hands and I pull her heart out. And I can feel it in my hands. I could feel her sadness. I could feel her pain. I could feel everything. And she had 3 metal pins in her heart. It doesn't take a heart surgeon to figure out you shouldn't have 3 metal pins in your heart. So I reached and I gently pulled each one out and I threw it to the foot of Jesus. Then I pulled the second one out and threw it to the foot of Jesus. And as I pulled that third one out, I could feel the heart release. And I knew the 3 pins came from 3 men in her life, her father and 2 people she dated. I don't know what the trauma was from that. I don't look for that, but I could feel the pain. I could feel the heaviness of those relationships on this young woman. And then I started to blow energy into my hands. So I had my hands cupped with this heart inside. When I use my breath, I visualize this white light coming out of my mouth, kind of like, like a snowmaking machine, right? So as the snowmaking machine is blowing snow, that's what I see coming out of my mouth. And a lot of times I can't see something in front of me, but if I hold the object in my hands where I can feel it, and then I blow the energy on, it's like the invisible man walking through the snowmaking machine, and you can see the figure at that point. So I'm blowing energy, and I don't know what I was doing. I don't know. I don't even know how I knew how to do that. I was blowing energy into her heart until it looked right. And then I placed it back in her chest. And I remember it was so vivid. It was so powerful. I was caressing her cheek and I touched the side of her face and I could feel her hair in my hands. And I was blowing energy into her forehead because it just didn't look right. And then I reached in and pulled something out of her forehead and I kept blowing energy on everything until it looked right. Then I placed it back away from me and I finished the session. When I do healing sessions long distance now, I put that person, object, or thing on a golden platform with angels and some other techniques that I use because I've learned more tools. But these were tools that were given to me by God. These were tools that were already embedded inside of me, maybe from another lifetime or whatever it was, but I knew I was being divinely guided during that session. Most of the work that I do these days is not what I learned in class. So I tell people, I fix broken hearts because that's the first thing that Jesus showed me when I was doing that work. It was the first thing that Spirit showed me. It was the first thing that the universe showed me, whatever you want to call it. It's the first thing was her broken heart. I can relate because mine's been broken my whole life. As I pushed her energy back gently and I opened my eyes, I didn't realize how I was crying the whole time. I mean, my shirt was dripping with tears, and I felt everything she felt. I seen it. I felt it. I could taste it. And so I texted her. I said, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And she says, "What did you do to my heart?" And I got scared. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I don't know if I hurt her because the work I was doing was well above where I've been trained. And we were actually told not to do that. And I don't always follow the rules, if that makes sense. And I said, "Why? Are you okay?" She said, "My heart had been fluttering for years. And the doctor said, hey, you're just going to have to live with it. My heart feels fantastic." So I told her what I did. And she said, "Did you caress my face?" I'm like, yes, I did. I could feel your skin. I could feel your hair. I could feel your energy. I could feel your heart. I could feel all of it. Before I did this episode tonight, I was sitting on the sofa doing what I do best, is wasting time in the middle of the night watching TV, checking out a little bit. And the person on TV said something about what makes you feel alive. And I started to think about this. So I know that was being divinely put in front of me again, because here I am doing God's work, telling people, sharing my story, sharing how you can heal in a moment if you know how, reminding you that you're one vibrational shift away from becoming the person that you really want to be. I just love it. When I do this work, I feel alive for the first time ever. My prayers are a little different. I am part Cherokee. I recognize the four directions. I recognize the grandmothers and grandfathers of the East, South, West, and North. I honor Mother Earth. I honor my heart, and I pray to Jesus Christ, and I accept him in my life every single time I do a healing session. And the energy of the room starts to spin clockwise. It layers and layers higher and higher. And when I pray to Jesus, my hands are on fire. My heart is open. I can feel the energy of the room changing. I can see things. I can hear things. I can see inside my client's body. And I can reach in there and I can pull out the pain that is in their body. I can do God's work at this extraordinarily beautiful level. And it's so much fun listening to my friends come on the show and talk about how they do work, because everybody's so unique. It's like your own fingerprint. It's unique for you. I can promise. I've seen some crazy shit in my healing room. So I'll have people come in with spiritual attachments, and I can see the string coming off of them where it's attached, and the string goes out the door, down the hall, and whatever's attached to them is around the corner, right? So I'll sit there and I'll ask my client, hey, do you feel like you're being watched when you're by yourself? They're like, how do you know? I'm a good guesser. And then I asked him, I said, "You got pain in the back of your neck, right? And then two other spots on your back or whatever it is." And they're like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I was like, "I'm a good guesser." That's where those attachments are attached. And I love seeing those things. And I could see the block over their heart, the blocks around their throat, their third eye being closed, their feet feeling heavy. Whatever's going on, I can see those energies because the way my gifts work is as we talk and they talk about themselves and their body and their pain or whatever they've got going on, that's when it starts to show itself to me. That's when I can physically see it. Or sometimes I don't. It's just a knowing. And going through that process of setting them on the table and opening their energy and removing the blocks that are there is just so, I don't know. I've done it so much, it's kind of becomes work a little bit. Then God reminds me, hey, I'm going to send you something really crazy and remind yourself that you have gifts. Because sometimes I wonder if I even have gifts. Because I guess this stuff becomes so normal for me, the aha of it has worn off. And all of a sudden, their grandmother comes in holding a plate of cookies, and I'm describing what I see to my client. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's my grandmother's house. That's her kitchen. Oh, that's my grandfather on the boat in the lake in the backyard." Or I help somebody who's lost a child during pregnancy, and the soul of the baby, the energy of the baby is still attached to her tummy and it's causing problems. She's having tummy problems from it. And I help that child go home. But before we do that, she can feel the energy of her child. And they can communicate, and I help give messages back and forth. And it's the most beautiful thing. If you go to my website that's called Mommy's Love, and I've done that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I don't even remember the first time I did it, honestly. I don't know where I learned it. Maybe the angels showed me, I don't know. But going through that process and watching the mother have that connection and feeling the energy of her child in her hands, there's nothing like it. Hearing the baby tell the mother that, hey, I like peanut butter and jelly, or I like cheese pizza. Seeing her get to know her child for a little bit, and then handing that baby to the archangels, and the archangels and angels take that child home. And Jesus always shows that to me. I always get to see the baby get his or her wings, and all these angels come in. There's hundreds of them coming to greet that soul back to heaven. It's extraordinary. So when that TV show said, "What makes you feel alive?" I feel alive doing that work. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I don't know why I get to do it. I mean, there's a lot of us that do it. I think everybody has gifts. But for somebody who thought they were less than nothing to have that gift, I mean, I remember as a child screaming at the top of my lungs, I want to be special. I want to have fucking friends. I want to be treated nice. I just wanted to be special. And all of a sudden I was special. And it messed with me for a minute. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You waited your whole life to do something different. And I am not going to turn my back on him. I am not. I got to be honest. The Bible's confusing to me Jesus, God, they're separate, they're whatever. I mean, all that stuff is confusing as fucking shit to me. All right. I'm probably the worst ordained minister ever. However, when I pray to God, I hear it differently than when I pray to Jesus. When I talk to Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Haniel, whomever I'm speaking with, it's different from each person. I recognize the difference. It's real. Being these spiritual beings in this human body, it's interesting. It's different. I'll be 56 this year. Hell, I'll be 56 in a couple weeks, actually. And I see some of these people coming into my healing space that have these gifts and they're learning these things in their early 20s. I'm like, wow, you've got your whole adult life to grow and become and change and heal. And I think that's why I've been working so hard to heal what was between my ears the last 5 years. I mean, I just thirst for it. I crave it. I chase it because I'm not broken anymore. I'm not weak anymore. I wasn't weak before. However, I believed I was. I'm not this raped little boy trying to be a man and carrying this anger and frustration and not understanding life and not understanding myself and not understanding how I can let this anger go and how I can't connect with my wife, how I feel disconnected with my children, how I feel disconnected with everybody. That person's not here anymore. That fucking dude is gone. And I am grateful for that person. However, I am here now. And Jesus flows through me to heal me, and together we heal the world. If you like this show, do me a favor, would you? Maybe tell somebody about it. I don't make any money off this show. It's kind of fun to do. It shocks me how many people listen to it. But maybe the miracle you're looking for, you become the miracle somebody else is looking for. Maybe somebody needs to hear these words, and you connect the dots. Maybe you being kind to somebody is the miracle they need. Because I believe if we become a miracle, we will receive miracles. One thing I love about my brothers is the three of us, and I don't know if my sisters do it as much as my brothers and I do. And if you listen to the show, my brother Dennis died last year at 62, and my brother Billy, the honest answer is we're not close. But one thing I know about my brother Billy is he helps people. And one of the things that we do in our family is we help people and we don't let anybody tell anybody about it. I like doing random acts of kindness. My brother Billy helped this man one time, gave him a ride home. And my brother got, what's it called? He got a viral eye infection. And if you know my brother Billy, if you talk about something going on with your eyes, it really freaks him out. So it was kind of poetic that he got an infection helping this man. And I don't know, when I found out about that, I just thought I was going to lose my shit laughing. But I've watched Billy time and time again do things for people, and Dennis too. I miss my brother Dennis. I miss my brother Billy. But they're beautiful people. So I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for coming to my healing space and allowing me to do work. I hired somebody, a young lady named Sarah. She'll be on the show sooner than later, and she's helping me with my back-end stuff, rebuilding my website and doing some things, and you're going to see some big changes coming soon. I thought Andrea and I were going to do those things together, and life happens. She's doing her stuff. and I'm doing mine. We're still friends. We talk all the time. It's nothing like that, but we're just doing separate work. And it took me a minute to recoup that it was just me. The back end stuff isn't my favorite. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my expertise. So I prayed to God. I said, hey, I need you to send who I'm supposed to work with. And I can't go looking for that person. And I heard him clearly say, I will. 3 days later, Sarah showed up. No pressure, Sarah. But I'm excited about that. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really cool. We're taking the brand global. We're taking the healing work global. I've got a program that I'm rolling out where it's a 12-month healing program where you get a virtual healing every 2 weeks. You know, the concept, the thing is this. You get a healing session, it raises your vibration. Then after a week or so, it goes back to where it was. So my thought was, if you are healing from something, maybe you're sick or whatever that's going on, you're not sick, you need healing. You don't have cancer, you need healing. You have healing to do. So if we're constantly raising your vibration over and over and over, so you're doing 2 healing sessions a month, and your vibration continues to rise as the cells in your body regenerate. They're regenerating at the higher vibration. Does that make sense? So as you're going through this process, there's meditations, there's affirmations, there's healings, there's group healings, there's private healings, there's these different things you can plug into. It's going to change everything. It's the middle of the night. Abigail's staring at me. She's like, Daddy, I'm ready to go to bed. I just want to say thank you, and I'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Enlightenment Unknown with Wes Coons, your guide on the quest for self-discovery and the version of you we haven't met yet.